Okay, so we're still hooked up to our site folder. We're still working on our index, our home page. And we've added text. We've added some structure with HTML. We added some styles with our CSS code. We made some links. And we made some CSS hover rules for those links. Let's go to the code view. Just to refresh our memory with some of the code. You know, this is doc type HTML. We have the opening and closing HTML tags, top and bottom of the page. We have the head section, stuff that people don't usually see when they view the website. Metadata, your title appears in the browser. Title bar. We have our styles, CSS styles. All the selectors and properties for each of those are listed here. So far we've had just global styles that like H1 that affect all the H1, or selectors like H2 that affect all the H2. The A style, the A hover style, there's our closing style tag and our closing head tag. Now the body tag, remember, that's where most of the visual stuff the viewers actually see, all the text and such is located within that body tag. We have our H1 tag, which is our banner, basically our title. We have our navigation bar where there's different A tag links to the web pages that are linked to. We have our H2 sections, the paragraph or body text. If I scroll down here, there's our H2 for external links. We made external links, that same A tag, but instead of linking to a page within our site, it links to an external page. Now we actually use that URL as the text that's linked. We could change that if we want to, as long as we have the link, the correct link in the A tag. There's our closing body tag and our closing HTML tag. Go back to the live view. Well, it looks pretty good. I could just add some images, maybe some more alignment with a white background, but we can also change the white background. How do we change that? By selecting the body and creating a CSS rule for the body. How can I select the body? Well, if I'm out here, say on my H1, I can arrow up on my keyboard and it goes up to my body tag. I come to my CSS designer, go to all, we're going to make a new selector, new. Now it's going to make it body space P for paragraph text. I don't want it to affect the paragraph text, I want it just to affect the body, so I can delete that space, just have it as a body CSS rule. Hit enter or return. And now I can add properties. Make sure show set is off. I can add properties to the body, just like some of the other CSS elements. Let's go to the background. I can do a background color, like hot pink. Hit enter. No, that's terrible. Ouch. Ouch, don't do that. I could do like a gray color, whatever feels good to me. I could also do maybe very subtle. The trick is, guys, if you're having a mostly dark text, you should have a very light background. If you have a really light text, then you should have a very dark background. Okay, and no, it's not too bad. Now we can also do background gradients if you want. Background images, background gradients. We'll do images in a second. Let's try a gradient, background gradient. I can still leave the solid color in here and then add a gradient. By default, it gives me this red and white. I can just click any of these colors and find a different color out here. Command Z. I can slide these around, click that box here, and select a different color. And once again, grab this guy. Now, you don't want to get too crazy, feel too much like a hippie. Maybe if you're doing a hippie target audience, but you may want to keep it more of a subtle change. It gives it a little more dimension to your website. Little subtle change there. You can see it, nice subtle change in the background as you scroll through. So that's a pretty good effect. Another thing you could do is a background image. Let me save this. We don't really have any images prepared yet for our background. You could take your own background texture image, or you could go online and do a background image search. Now mine's more of a nature thing, so maybe I want to do a light wood grain. Now if you type in the word texture, it usually brings up images that are designed for just such a thing. Backgrounds for websites or other images. Light wood grain texture. Images. Now what you want to be careful of is copyright. Now if these are copyrighted, you may not want to use them. It should be fine for educational purposes as long as you're not publishing this site on the internet or for monetary purposes. If you're just doing it for educational purposes and keeping it on your own server or on your own computer, you're fine. Now what we got to think of is if we have dark text, we want a real light background. If the grain is too dark and light, then the dark text won't show up and the light text won't. And vice versa. If you have a dark text or a light text, you want a real dark background. Other things to look out for. I don't want these watermarks. Those are like copyright marks. I want to avoid those. Also, we want a large image. Alright, so I'm on Google's. I did my search. I went to Images, Tools. I can do Size, and I should look for large images since it's a background file. Now I'm going to show you another way to do backgrounds on my next project that uses a lot less memory. This one's not bad. I like that, but it's got watermarks on it. This one's nice. And watermarks. Seems like a lot of them do recently. And there are some sites where you can download some free images. We'll look at those on another project. Let's say royalty free. See if there's anything that pops up there. Oh, almost everything does. Has a copyright on it. Let's slide down a little bit more. There we go. That was not bad. That's a nice one, maybe. Hey, this one. Pretty big size. I think it looks good. I can right-click, open an image in a new tab to look a little closer. Right-click, open in a new tab. Open image in a new tab. Click here. Can click on it. Yeah, there's no watermarks there. Oh, you should still be careful. It may be copyrighted. But for educational purposes, we can use this one. How do we save this? I want to right-click. Save image as. I'm going to go to my desktop and find my root folder, history, images. I can change the name up here. I'm going to change this one to background. It's a JPEG image. We can use JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, animated GIFs. You want to avoid Photoshop files, PDFs, things like that. Save. Okay, so it should be saved to my folder. Go here. Now I can go to my background. Once again, I'm on my body tag. If you're off that, you can go to current body tag or all selectors. Search for it. Scroll around for it. Here it is. Click on it. Properties. Border background. Background image. Browse for that image. There it is. And let me get rid of the gradient. And there's my image. So I can have a gradient, a solid color, or a background image. Now it may not be big enough to fit your whole background. So we could say background size, cover. Covers the whole background. You could also say background attachment. It could be fix or scroll. Scroll, it scrolls around your text. Fix it, stays still while your text scrolls. Okay. And let's save this. So that gives us our background image. To check that out in your browser, right click, open in browser. Mine seems to be having issues there. Or since mine's already open in Google, I can refresh it. And there's that background image. Pretty cool. Fixed background, so the background stays still, the text flows. It's up to you. Not too bad. Looking pretty natural. Now let's add a little bit of margin so it's not too tight to that background or to the border or side of the window. On my body tag, current body layout. This is where I can do some margins. There we go. Margin. I have a 0 setting right and left. I can click, increase that. Yeah, I can go for like about maybe 50 is not bad. Pretty high, but we'll see how it looks. These are pixels. The only thing where this could get a little touchy is if you start to get on a cell phone and open a page like that, but we will address those issues in other projects. There we are. Now it's not so tight to the window. It's looking pretty good. Let's add another image. Okay, so I'm going to click on this H1 text, and this is we're going to learn about another panel. I can do it on the code side or the live view, but let's go on the live view, click on my H1 text, go to my insert panel. It's another handy panel in Dreamweaver. If yours is not open, go to Windows and look for insert up here, and it should open. There's a couple different things we could insert: forms, bootstraps, jQuery. We'll learn about all of that, but let's go to HTML, and let's insert an image. We want to put that before our H1, and we're going to find an image. Oh, I don't have an image, so let's cancel that. Now we could search for images online too, for images we may want to put into our website. Same type of thing. Make sure it's medium, probably to large image, and start finding some images that have something to do with your website. If you're doing a patriotic website for zombies, I could do zombie patriotic site, or zombie patriotic images, or zombie patriotic presidents. There you go, all kinds of over the top patriotic type fun. Now, I am not doing patriotic zombies this time, so I have some images prepared. I'm getting a little older, so a little more reserved. So I'm going to move my images I have prepared into my images folder. You can pause the video and search for your own images, take your own images, whatever you want to do for this site. I have some pretty sedate images here that I could include in this naturalistic website. Now, one thing you should do, whether you gather images from the internet or your own, title them or label them in certain ways that will make sense. Like this was my background. I've labeled all these: nature, Blue Ridge Mountains, trees, butterflies, whatever. Something that has to do with your website, so it makes it easier to find on the internet. People can find your website a little better. I have a couple here I did not label yet, so I can click again. I want to keep the extension .png or .jpeg, whatever it is, but I can change the title. Blue, oh, no spaces, underscore, and I should keep away from caps. Blue Ridge Nature. Good. Alright, click again. Do not highlight or change the .png. Panorama underscore mountains underscore nature. Good. And last but not least. So make sure you do label these in a way that makes sense. Oops, I should avoid some accidental punctuation there. Click, click. Do not change the extension, the .png. Blue mountains nature. Good. Once again, you can find images online. As long as you're not publishing this site, it should be okay to use for educational purposes. And I moved all those into my images folder, in my site a root folder. There's my index page, and there's all my images. Good. Now let's try this again. You can pause this video if you need to look for images. I encourage you to always try to take your own. With cell phones and everything these days, you can take some great images. Alright, let's input our first image. We did put an image already in here, but it's the background image. Now let's put one within the actual page. Naturally Patriotic is my title. I'm clicking on that, the H1. On my live view, I'm going to my insert panel, HTML, image. I want to put this image before that title. And I think I'm going to put Panorama Mountains Nature. So there's a beautiful image, almost like a banner image. There. Now in upcoming websites, we'll see how we can put text right on top of that image. Pretty nice. We'll also see how we can do responsive images in the future. Let me go to Google, my page here. Let's refresh this guy and see what it's looking like. Ooh, I did not save it. I put the image in, but I never saved it, so it's not going to refresh. Save. There we are. Nice. Okay. Not too bad. Image, banner image, title, links, different sections. Good. Now let's go back in here. Oh, this is a big long block of text. It's getting a little bit solid. I may want to break it up with some images. Maybe I could change this CS or this H3. I could add some color to those. Alright, I could do a couple other things to this to make it look a little more tight, a little more easier to read. Let's break up some of this monotony here with some images. I'm going to click. Now this other image here at the top, we hit it outside of our text. Let's go down here and put an image in sort of within this body of text. Put it in a paragraph. It could be before or after a paragraph. Image. I'm inserting an image. After. And let me do another beautiful nature picture here. Nice, can't go wrong with butterflies. That's a little too bright. A little too bright. A little too butterfly-y. Insert an image after that paragraph. And let me do this nice watercolor one. Or a waterfall. There we go. Good. Let me go to the code side. And we can see how these are listed in the code side. There's my title, Naturally Patriotic, and there's that image I put above that. Image space source equals, that's the source of the image. It's from the images folder. It's called panorama _ mountains _ nature.png. There's the width and the height. Now that's the actual width and height of the image itself that I put in there. I could always change that. I could always adjust those images. Okay. Now I could adjust them up here manually, but I don't want to distort them. That's where the property panel comes in handy. If I have my image selected down here in the properties panel, I can lock these images and change the size so they stay in proportion. They don't distort. If I change one and it's locked, the other one should change. I'm putting 1,200 pixels. I think usually about 72 pixels per inch for the internet. Okay, so there you go. I made that image a little bit bigger on the top. You don't want it to get too big, bigger than its original size, or else it may be pixelated or blurry or not real clear. Okay, let's look at the other image I put in here. Now this image is outside the paragraph text. Once again, now notice something different about images tags. They only have one tag. They don't have a closing tag. Everything is contained within the images tag. The size, the width, and the source or the name, and the IMG code. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to see what happens if I put it within some text here. How would that work? Let's see. Let's test that out. Ah, I see. That's an inline image. It's in line with the text. And it may not be that attractive, right? It's really knocking all that text out of the way. The text is real tight there. And that's sort of annoying. I would not really want to see that in the website. Text real tight to the image. Image, make this big space here because it's sort of the computers or the browser would be treating the image like text. So I can make a CSS rule to override that. I can click on this image on my live view, add some CSS class or ID. An ID I can use for one specific item per page. Now I can make an overall class that would apply to all the images, or I could just adjust one single image in a specific way. So I could give this guy an ID by typing in a hashtag and giving this image a name, waterfall. Hit enter. It's going to say, where do I want to save this style? Where do I want to save this new CSS code? I want to save it in styles, which is the actual page, internet HTML page. Hit enter, and there we are. Okay. I can select that image, then go to the code side, and you can see where it listed that style. There's my new style, hashtag waterfall. It's an ID, means the hashtag means it only apply to that one image. Well, there's no properties in here yet. So let me go back over here, select this guy, CSS designer, current. My selector is waterfall. Let me add some properties. And I obviously don't want to mess with the text, but I could mess with the alignment. I could put some padding on that image, and that will push it away from the text. Padding on top, maybe the bottom, and it should be the same all around, except my image is going to be aligned. I'm going to align my image left, so I don't need a padding on the left side. And then I'm going to float it either right or left. I'm going to float it, like I said, instead of aligning, I should have said float. I'll float it left, and that will wrap the text to the right. Pretty handy. Okay. What you want to be careful of is the image is just too big that there's only a little tiny bit of text over here that won't look right, so you could shrink your image, but this one looks pretty good. Good. Let's do that one more time. So that's for images that are within text. I have this paragraph here. Let me find a bigger paragraph to work with. Let's do this guy here. Paragraph text, I could click within there. See if it'll let me insert it this way. Insert. Let's go to the live view, or code view. There we go. Insert HTML image. And let's do another image. And here's just some nice shaded woods. Fine there, but let's go to live view. It's knocking all that text out of the way, so I want to make a specific rule for this guy. Now, once again, I can make a class and have the same rules on every image, but I want this to be a specific rule for this image. Hashtag tree. It's going to be in the style. Enter. Style means it's on the actual HTML page. Good. Now I can go to my CSS designer. Here's my current selector, hashtag tree. I could add some properties to it. Probably just layout properties. And let's go to that padding. That will push the text away from the image. Should probably keep things consistent. 15 top. Now this one's I'm going to float right, so I don't need a padding on the right. 15 on the left. And let's do 15 on the bottom. You know, anywhere around 10 to 20 should be fine. That's called white space. Okay, good. And now I gotta get that float rule, so I'm gonna float this guy to the right, and that will wrap the text to the left. Now, if that I think that looks all right, it could maybe stand a little more space or a padding around that image, but I think it looks pretty good. And file, save, and go to my Google here, refresh that. There we go, looking pretty good. I got a background image, navigation, colors, images embedded that are floating. Hey, everything's looking pretty good. I could change this text, a CSS role for that. Maybe I'll do that in a little bit. Okay, I think we'll come back for one more video to complete this page. Let me make sure everything is safe. Yes, it is.